Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Now let's start the fanfic. Good to know you are not making Konoha's mistakes. Naruto smiles. You know most of the problems in Konoha can be traced back to two figures. Danzo and Tobirama. Hashirama might have been a fool, but he was a wise fool with an admirable dream. Sadly, Tobirama was too military-minded and focused too much of his time fooling around with new jutsu and gave too much power to people who didn't share the right ideals. Tsunade nods. Uncle Toby never did know when to let things go. I just mean with them gone there is nothing stopping you from working over the system and cleaning Konoha up. What nobody ever pays attention to is Konoha is a military dictatorship. The only person who has power over the Hokage is the daimyo, and there is always the threat that the Hokage might assassinate him for a more amiable successor. Naruto shrugs. Not that I am suggesting that. The current Fire Lord is reasonable enough. My point is the council was appointed as advisors. Those two old fossils are redundant and a threat to what you want. Tsunade ponders this. Now you mention it, I don't remember there being a civilian council when I was a child. Only clan council. Naruto nods. And since the civilian council came into power, the clan council has lost sight of their responsibility. At most 1 or 2 seats should belong to the civilians to advise on their affairs. Originally the clan council was to take care of that, but it would be difficult to change things exactly back to that. The only solution would be to either absolve the council or to take back the power and reduce them to advisors only. Tsunade sips her tea. You know, with half the clan heads coming here anyway, I might as well just hold off on refilling those seats as they leave, then dissolve the council and reform it completely with people I can trust. Naruto smirks. Now you are thinking like a Hokage. Tsunade grins ruefully and shakes her head. I still think you would make a better one. They would never accept me. Once I was in, it wouldn't matter, but getting in is the problem. You need the daimyo's vote. The Hokages are the majority of the council. 2 of the 3 at least. The Fire Lord is an okay guy but is subject to his people, so without the council's vote it would never happen. Besides, this happened better than I could have planned. Tsunade raises an eyebrow. You intended to leave? Naruto nods. Within a couple years I intended to retire once I had some more training and research. You know, you and I together could have overturned my banishment. All it would take is a pardon from the Hokage and me reapplying for citizenship. The council would have no say in the end unless the clan council agreed with them, which we both know they don't. Like I said, the daimyo has power, but within the village any decision the daimyo doesn't take, the Hokage has the power. Tsunade sheds a tear. Why did I never think of that? Some Hokage I am. You're doing fine. I looked up the history and the laws on the subject thoroughly. Most Hokages are either born leaders from a military mindset or trained for it, as Hiruzen was. You come from a medical background and a soldier's point of view. You weren't trained for it. Mistakes will be made, but it can all be fixed as long as you remember you are in charge. Tsunade smiles. I can see now you will lead this village well. Anyway, we spent all day talking and I'm tired. Grab a spare room, Tsunade. I'll see you tomorrow. 3 days later, Tsunade went back to Konoha with Kakashi happier than he had seen her sober. Construction was going slowly but well, and Naruto's training had picked up again. It even drew a crowd as people wanted to watch. After all, how often do you get to watch high-level ninja train somebody? Although the ladies watched for an entirely different reason. The rest, however, was driving one girl nuts. Why do I suddenly have the urge to run around the village 100 times? Naruto chuckles. Uzumaki have high stamina and energy with a metabolism to match. Your coils expanding and healing is giving you a more extensive feel for that, most likely. You'll get used to it. Only 4 more days till you can do something to burn all that energy. Karen groans and Naruto laughs. Karen looks pointedly at him. Ahem, it's nothing, Karen, just that you remind me of myself a few years ago. I never guessed it was a family trait. Karen smiles. Naruto sweat drops. Just be careful not to start wearing green tights and screaming about youth. Huh. Naruto chuckles. Just a couple people I know. Similar training methods but horrifying people. If you don't stop them quick, they make an unbreakable and all too real genjutsu that traumatizes everybody around them. Nobody knows how either. Kurenai giggles as she walks over. I studied it so long I had to have my mind wiped. I may claim to be the best genjutsu mistress, but that has me beat easy. Itachi too and all the Kurama clan. Karen frowns. I heard of the Kurama clan while working for Orochimaru. Is this genjutsu really that bad? Naruto shakes his head. If they weren't in it then it would be beautiful, but they make it nasty. They don't even realize they do it. Karen gags. Okay, I swear green will stay away from my clothing. Pouting and putting her finger on her chin. Though I might have to use the youth screaming to mess with people sometimes. Naruto pales and Karen and Kurenai giggle. Oh, right, I should put you into the seal array for the house, Karen. That way you will be able to access most portions of the house while I am gone. I'm also going to sort the library into general Uzumaki knowledge and family techniques so that any Uzumaki I find can learn safely without going into anything I would rather stay secret for now. After all, not everything in there is Uzumaki or even safe. Karen grins. So, you're setting up your home as a clan house? Naruto nods. For now, though depending on how many I find I will have to expand. Kurenai's smile falls a little. Speaking of leaving, I think I have taught you all I can until your control gets a lot better. I was thinking I might stay here. Naruto smiles. He's lucky to have you, Kurenai-sensei. Besides, you're right, and I need somebody here to help anybody I send back to settle in. I can't think of anybody better than you. Kurenai blushes. I don't know who you mean. But I would be happy to help the Uzumaki. Your mother would be rather upset with her student if I didn't after all. Naruto grins before they all hear Tazuna screaming for him. Yo Naruto. Better come take a look. I think we found something interesting. Walking to the remains of an old tower on the outskirts of the village, they sight a huge hole in the ground which looks like the beginnings of a cave. We were examining the area around the tower because we couldn't find an entrance even though it seems intact. One of the boys got a bit frustrated and kicked a rock. The ground gave way and he took a tumble. He alright. Slight bump on the head and a bruised back but otherwise fine. Have him taken to the medics for a full examination, then tell him to take the next couple days off to be safe. Back and head injuries are no joke. Tazuna nods. Naruto walks carefully to the edge of the hole. Why did you say this was interesting? It's not. Rather, what is down there is. He said it looked like a cross between storage and a forge. Naruto walks down the wall of the hole and lights a torch he sees on the wall with some radon sparks. Exploring the large room, Naruto finds a trove of ingots of varying metals, molds for everything from weapons to horseshoes. It's what's near the forge itself that catches his attention. 7 weapon molds of very specific shapes and one that he knows well from his past. Well, hello old friend. Who knew they were Uzumaki made? Naruto makes 20 clones to seal up anything dangerous and exits the hole. You were right. This is a once-in-a-century find. Karen looks down the hole. What is it? Naruto grins. For starters, this isn't a tower but a chimney for an advanced forge. What I found are the forge itself and the molds for everything made in it. Including the 7 blades of the mist. Karen's eyes bug and Tazuna frowns. You mean like that big blade that Zabuza guy used? Looked intimidating, sure, but was it that special? Karen answers. Each blade is at least partially sentient. They chose their wielders. Each blade also has their own special powers in a way. Zabuza's head cleaver was unbreakable because if it was broken then feeding it blood would heal the blade. It's the only one I know about though. Naruto nods. Kisami's blade sharkskin is a living weapon that shaves rather than cuts. It also eats chakra. Nuibari is the sewing needle and is perfect for shredding or tying up your opponent but is notoriously difficult to wield. It's only had 2 owners I know if. The Kiba fangs are dual short swords with similar powers to the second Hokage's blade, enhancing Raiden to an insane degree. Helmet Splitter is more of an axe with a mallet to enhance any blow made. Splash has a giant roll of exploding tags on the back that makes every blow a blast. Haramakare can shape chakra into any solid shape depending on the will of the user. Karen smiles. You know a lot. Naruto nods. Kisame is part of Akatsuki and they are after my life, so I make it a point to learn what I can about them. I took a special interest in that because the information was in the same scroll I found Samahata's info in. Naruto turns to Tazuna. This wasn't the entrance to the forge. If anybody finds other things like this, seal them off until I or somebody I can trust can take a look. I don't want to take any risks. Make sure your men are careful. Uzumaki were seal masters and there is telling how any seals might react to somebody messing with it. Most shouldn't be a problem after so long, but be careful all the same. Tazuna nods. I'll pass the word around. Naruto taps his chin. This complicates things a bit. I will have to contact the clans and see if a team can be put together for exploration and archaeology. A Doden expert to reinforce any tunnels or caverns, a cartographer to map them out and a sealing expert at standard journeyman level minimum in case of seals. Naruto sits down and writes out a message to Inoichi and summons Gamakichi to deliver it. Having that done, he returns to his training. Next day Naruto was looking for Shikamaru and found him in a position he did not expect, with Tamari in his arms in a secluded area of the island. Tamari was asleep and Shikamaru staring at the clouds. Naruto sniggers. Well, this is a surprise. I thought she was too troublesome for you. It's a drag, but at least she gets my love of staring at clouds even if she tries to cut down how much I do it. Besides, mom's been trying to set up blind dates and she's less troublesome than that. Naruto grins. This works out well for me then. Shika looks at him. What troublesome thing are you thinking now? I was thinking you two are among the smartest people I know who I can trust. I want you two handling my accounts for this project. Shikamaru nods. Sounds easy enough. Lots of time to think and look at the clouds. Can't speak for Tamari, but sounds fine to me. Tamari mumbles. I'll keep him motivated and help out. Naruto smiles. Thanks. You too. Tamari sits up. Tsunade told Yugara is Cage. Naruto nods. Make sure you visit him when you get the chance. He's looking forward to it. Naruto smiles. I will. Suna is on my list of training locations after all. Even if it wasn't, I would still do it. Tamari smiles. Thanks again for helping him. He's really changed. Naruto shrugs. Just cause I'm a little cold doesn't mean I think a person can be strong on their own. Gaara just needed a reminder. A week later it was time to leave and Naruto was holding Karen. Look after home for me, Karen, and I'll be back before you know it. Karen smiles. I will. Kurenai has offered to teach me and train me to get me on track. Naruto nods. Couldn't ask for a kinder teacher. Looking past Karen. Tayuya, look after yourself. Tayuya smirks. Make sure to that in Snake when you see him and let him know I said he was a worm. Naruto grins and waves to everybody as the group set out for Kiri. Anko grins as they set out. What are you smiling about? Hehehehe, Kiri has some of the best poisons. Kusa has more deadly animals, but Kiri designs and mixes their own poisons. Naruto nods. I remember the demon brothers scratched my hand when they attacked. It was poisoned, but Shinju hadn't yet finished tuning up my immune system. I'm mostly immune to poisons now, thankfully. It was a pain to do though. I was sick for weeks. Between the Chunin exams and the Sasuke retrieval mission, I was recovering. Anko cackles. So that's where you were. The whole village was convinced you were planning one of your pranks and that it was going to a big one. I was kinda disappointed when you didn't. Naruto chuckles. Maybe I'll start a tradition in Uzu where kids try their best once a year in a pranking contest. Hana giggles. That sounds like fun. Anyway, how are we getting to Kiri? Heading to the southern peninsula, then island hopping. Best way to get in unnoticed. Unless the triplets can't water walk, then I will hire a boat and wave. Hana waves him off. It's fine. They can water walk better than most Chunin, and it isn't that far between the islands. Late that day they reached a village on the first island. It reminded him of how Wave used to be. This place feels sad. And angry. It reminds me of Wave under Gato but feels like Konoha. Yugao's eyes are drawn to a girl about Naruto's age arguing with a merchant about the price of a fish she is selling and draws Naruto's attention to it. But last week this kind of fish fetched double that. Sorry kid. Times are hard and I'm the only one who will buy from you. That's cost me business and I can't afford more. Naruto, recognizing the look in the girl's eyes, walks up to the fishmonger. You said times are hard. Why? And why do you say nobody will buy from this girl? This is was a popular trading port, but recently monsters have been sinking our ships. As for the other matter, well, it's superstition mostly. An old story says when people around here disappear, they are taken by monsters, and if they return then they have turned into one. Many have gone missing over the years, but Isaribi here is the first to return. Naruto shakes his head. So, they demonize her simply because she came back when others didn't. I know how that feels, and trust me, it hurts everybody involved. The more you treat somebody like a demon, the more they are tempted to become one to avoid the pain. Even Biju were once peaceful. Naruto looks at Isaribi and notices the bandages. Are you injured, Isaribi? No. At least nothing that can be helped with. Naruto nods, knowing she is hiding something. I want you to remember something. The difference between a human and a monster or demon is not what they look like or their abilities. It is what they choose to do. We will be in the area for a day or so if you wish to talk or ask for help with anything. Naruto walks away with the team, ignoring the look on Isaribi's face. A look of hope and sadness all at once. You want my advice, kid? Take his offer. Even if they can't help you, they obviously don't wish to hurt you either. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. He confuses me. Seemed so cold, but his words were warm. Isaribi's eyes widen. He knows pain. As they walk into the woods, Naruto notices Anko looks distracted and uneasy. Something wrong? Anko starts. Why yeah, since we got here, I had a bad feeling. Like I've been here before and it wasn't pleasant for me. Like that pain you get in that mark. Anko nods. Worse than usual. And flashes of things I don't remember. Mouse stops and looks at Anko. Repressed memories. So, you are beginning to remember at last. Everybody looks at Mouse. My first mission in Anbu was taking out a rumored lab Orochimaru was using in this area. We never found the lab, but we found Anko knocked out and in bad shape. Almost dead. When she finally woke, she could remember nothing after leaving the leaf on what she was told was a training trip with Orochimaru. It was the first time we saw the curse mark. We could only figure what happened was so traumatic she repressed the memories. We hoped they would surface in time so we could find him, but we lost hope after many years of no signs of it happening. Then we stopped hearing the rumors out of this area and gave up. It would seem that is no longer the case. If I was to guess, the closer we get to the lab, the more Anko will remember. Tiger nods. I have a question. Naruto, in the morning we could move through several islands. You said we would stay a day or two though. Why? Isaribi. She is like me. Hana frowns. A Jinchuriki. Naruto shakes his head. No, but she hides something. Something that makes her different and that causes her pain. Pain of loneliness and isolation. I didn't lie when I said this place reminded me of Waven Leaf. I only hope she is willing to confide in us before we must move on. That night Isaribi was conflicted. Amachi said he could cure her if she repaid him for the research, but he did this to her. If she went to these people, she might be accepted and maybe cured, but Amachi would cut her off. Should she risk that? Why did she feel like this boy knew her pain? She remembers his eyes. A cold blue like the ocean. Beautiful, but the things hidden beneath were both beautiful and frightening. She shivered. Now she felt like he knew worse than she did, but it still confused her. Maybe I can ask him. Next day, Naruto decided to take some time to relax on the beach. Shinju had told him too much training would hurt more than help even with him, so he decided now was the time. Fate seems to like him, as the beach he was napping on happened to be where Isaribi lived. Even dozing in the sun, he felt her coming. Her chakra felt different. Lots of water, but that's not what had him curious. It was the inhuman feeling that came with it. Hello Isaribi. She jumps. How did you know it was me? Naruto shrugs. Live in a ninja village and in constant fear, you pick up some tricks. I can sense chakra and yours is unique. So, you're a ninja. I'm not sure if that term fits me anymore. Is a ninja who has been banished still a ninja? Even if he is trying to start his own village. Smirking, she sits by him. Our actions make us what we are. Does that not extend to a ninja as well as monsters and humans? Naruto chuckles. So that's how it feels. Isaribi looks him in the eyes to see amusement. What? Originally I came from Konoha. One of the few who was kind to me was the third Hokage. Though I knew it was always for the good of the village with him, that was his duty, and he was kind to me. Sometimes he would say something, and later when he was going against his own advice, I would remind him, and he would chuckle. I never knew why until now. Isaribi smiles. Why do I get the feeling this story has more to it? That you hide more pain than I do. There is a reason I mentioned the Biju yesterday. I know more about them than anybody alive. Naruto takes off his shirt, causing her to blush. He then channels his chakra, causing a seal to appear on his stomach, and her eyes widen. Jinchuriki. Which one do you hold? Naruto smirks. Ah, now that's a complicated question. If you ask most in Konoha, they would say the 9 tails, but that's not entirely accurate anymore. Isaribi looks at him, asking a silent question, and Naruto tells her if his life and the god within. By the end, she is silent in contemplation. Truly, he has lived pain far worse than mine. Maybe. Making up her mind, Isaribi stands and unwinds her bandages to show the scales on her skin. Then, walking to the water, she steps in and changes her form. She looks like a bizarre hybrid between fish and human. Looking at Naruto, hoping he doesn't reject her, she sees sadness. You have it so much worse than I do. For me, the only outward sign of what I am is these whiskers and the fangs. Easily hidden. But you wear your pain on your skin. Naruto smiles kindly. You don't need to worry about rejection from me, Isaribi. Tell me. How did this happen? A lab on a nearby island. A man is there named Amachi. He used to work for a leaf nin named Orochimaru, researching bloodlines and jutsu. He kidnapped many villagers for his experiments. Most either died or became mindless monsters. But I adapted. I remain human in mind and can even force the change back mostly, but there is always some left. He promised he could fix me, but it would be costly. That explains the guilt in your eyes. You are the one attacking ships. How long has he had you doing this? Has he done anything that would strike you as looking for a cure? shaking her head. Years. And, no, I hold hope because it's all I have. We have a medic ninja in our team who could look at you. If this Amachi can help you, then she should at least be able to tell what exactly this is. Naruto smirks and looks back to the tree line. Isn't that right, Hana? Hana blushes and rubs her arms sheepishly as she walks out of the trees. Ah hey, sorry Naruto. Didn't mean to pry, I was just walking by when you took off your shirt and you got distracted. It's fine, Hana. I kinda figured Kiba wasn't the only horned dog in your family. Hana giggles. If only you knew our mom. Now Isaribi, would you allow me to take a look at you? Isaribi shakes nervously. Why do I smell dogs? Naruto frowns at her fear. Dogs frighten you. I like dogs, but for some reason they don't like me. And one time the villagers set some loose on me. Naruto nods understanding. You can smell dogs because Hana here is of the Inuzuka clan. They have a close bond with their partners. Ninja hounds of special breeds. Speaking of which, where are the triplets? Hana pouts. They went back to the cabin laughing at my drooling. Isaribi giggles. Stepping out of the water, the transformation recedes and she stands before Hana and nods. Hana uses a medical jutsu to scan her to find out what's been done to her. It takes a while, but Hana frowns afterwards and Isaribi is worried. What is it? It's a bloodline as far as I can see. One that lay dormant. Dormant. Hana shakes her head and answers. New bloodlines pop up all the time. Usually lying dormant in a family or villager of people close to each other for years or decades before manifesting. It's best to let this happen naturally, as forcing it can cause negative effects. It seems what has been done here is the bloodline has been forcibly activated and fused with her cells before she was ready for it. Based on what she said, the older generation all mutated fully and lost their minds. This means that more than likely later in life you might have activated it naturally, but in them it was fully dormant. If you didn't, then likely your children would. Good news is with time, training and a little luck you might gain full control, but there is no way to know for sure, and what has been done to you is permanent. There is no curing it because it was always there. How would I train it? Naruto smiles. You already have been Isaribi, though not in the best way. By using your abilities, you become more used to them and they settle in you. They come more easily. I am guessing the transformation was difficult and maybe painful at first. She nods. And not now. Shaking her head. Can you walk on water? I can, but I always preferred to swim. Naruto motions for her to follow him out onto the water. Once standing out a ways, Naruto shows her the bird hand sign. Hold this hand sign and close your eyes. Feel the water around you as you stand here. Isaribi decides to follow his lead and does as instructed. Try to move it around a little. It takes a few minutes, but Naruto notices a ripple below them and smiles. Good. Now try feeling inside yourself for a similar energy. It should feel like the water, but at the same time different. I feel it. What is it? Keep a watch on it. Now I want you to try transforming into your aquatic form. Frowning, Isaribi does so and gasps at what she notices. I thought so. What is it? It's your bloodline. I didn't know what I was sensing at first, but what Hana said about you got me thinking. Okay, now I want you to keep an eye on that energy and change the flow. Try to force it down. Slowly and carefully. As she does so, Naruto grins. Opening her eyes, she is confused. What? Naruto points down and she looks at her reflection in the water and gasps. It's gone. I'm normal. Isaribi jumps at Naruto and hugs him for everything she is worth. Tears in her eyes, she thanks him over and over. As she separates herself, she suddenly feels weak and Naruto has to help her back to land. As they reach the shore, Hana rushes to examine her. What happened? Naruto smirked. Backlash. I asked Kakashi about the Sharingan once and he said the Mangekyo has a major backlash when it's first activated, often knocking the person out for a few hours. Her bloodline has been at least partially active for years, draining her reserves a little constantly, and she never deactivated it, so the backlash was a little worse. She'll have a headache when she wakes, but now, she can control it. When I said to train it, I meant years. How did you do it? She's been doing it by instinct all along. When she transforms, she just couldn't fully control it because she didn't know how. I taught her how to feel her own power and observe how it reacts when she changes. After that, it was a case of taking that feeling further. Hana shakes her head. Only you, Naruto. Looking at Isaribi, Naruto smiles. Go back to the others and tell them what happened. I will wait till she wakes and see if she is willing to point us to this lab in Amachi. I suspect he has answers for Anko. Hana nods and walks away, not noticing the small smile on Isaribi's face. Isaribi woke as the sun started to set with a bad headache, just as he said. You wa hapnd. You suffered backlash from your bloodline deactivating the first time. It happens with some, though it will get better the more you use it. Next time you might suffer some pain and dizziness for a moment before it fades. Slowly Isaribi nods. So, it wasn't a dream. I can control it now. Yep. With practice you will do it without a hand sign and more easily. She smiles. I must be honest with you, Isaribi. I didn't do this entirely selflessly. I won't force you, of course, if you don't want to talk, but I need to know. Where is this lab Amachi is using? Shaking her head. I will tell you, but why do you need to know? A dear friend of mine has suffered a life much like mine because of her sensei. You know him, Orochimaru. He did something to her in a lab somewhere around here years ago and she doesn't remember much about it. But we need to find answers. Isaribi frowns a moment before her eyes widen. The lady with purple hair and fishnet shirt. Her name isn't Anko, is it? Naruto frowns and nods at her. You know Anko. I almost didn't recognize her. She was my only friend in that place. They told me she died. Ran away and drowned in the sea. She doesn't remember. Naruto shakes her head. Whatever happened to her was traumatic enough, she repressed the memories. She gets painful flashes since we got here and fragments, but it's a blur. Think you could help? If you are island hopping to Kiri, I would think you would go north then east, but if you go south instead you come to another island. That's the place. Can I see Anko please? Sure. Come on. I made a cabin nearby. 10 minutes later they arrived at a large house that looked grown rather than made, and Isaribi was confused. Seeing her, Naruto smirks. You're not the only one with a special talent. Isaribi made a face like oh and followed him inside. Anko, you have a visitor. Looking up from her dango, Anko raises an eyebrow. The girl from yesterday. Isaribi, right. Whatcha need? You really don't remember me, do you, Anko? She smiles sadly and sheds a tear. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter, I only wanted to thank you. For what? Have we met? Nodding, she steps closer and hugs Anko, making her frown. You were my only friend in that lab years ago. They said you were dead, and it broke my heart, but I always thought they were wrong. I'm glad that you lived. Even if you don't remember me. You're late, Isaribi. Where is the cargo? The ship didn't show Amachi. Have you made any progress on a cure for me? She notices his smirk. No. In fact, I haven't even tried to look for one. Why would I want to cure you when I just intend to dissect you once your usefulness has ended? Isaribi smiles and he is confused. Something funny. You haven't noticed yet. Noticed what, brat? He looks at her curiously before his eyes grow wide. Your mutation is gone. How? Naruto drops down behind him and knocks him onto the ground. Because there was nothing to cure. No mutation. Just a forced bloodline she didn't know how to control. Well, we fixed that. But enough about your failures, let's talk about an old friend of yours. Amachi is afraid. What friend? Naruto's gaze gets colder if you can imagine. Orochimaru. Why would you want to know about him? I haven't seen him in years anyway. Anko walks up behind him and smirks. Oh, we know. He hasn't been here since he tossed me out the door with this hickey on my neck. We're more interested in what he was doing then and why you are still here if you no longer work for him. A. Anko. B. But you're dead. Wrong stick. I survived even though that bastard Ed with my mind. Now I'm back and I want answers. A pair of snakes slither out of Anko's sleeve towards the man. How quickly I get them determines how much pain your balls are going to be in when my friends here are done with you. Answer quick enough and my cold friend Naruto here might just let you live. He looks at the snakes then at Naruto and decides the snakes are less scary. Okay, just call them off. Orochimaru perfected his immortality jutsu, but each body is only viable for about 3 years before it rejects him and needs a new one. He also can't use senjutsu in his replacements because they aren't strong enough. That's what the seal is for. It's a backup for his soul and a medium for using nature energy. Yours was the first prototype. I worked with him under orders to look for and harvest bloodlines for transfer. I still do it because it interests me. The girl's been useful for funding my research, that's why I kept her around. Anko scowls. Well, Naruto, what's the word? Let him live. The man sighs in relief. But send him to Konoha for questioning about all this and request a cleanup team to come in and help anybody left if possible. The man panics until Isaribi knocks him out. Nice. Thanks. Anko puts Amachi in a prisoner scroll and hands it to one of her snakes along with the message for Tsunade, and they all leave. Arriving back at the beach, Naruto turns to Isaribi and considers. Now we are done here, you have a choice to make, Isaribi. You can remain here or go on your way as you like. You can head to Uzu to help there and find a home. Or the most dangerous option. You can come with us. We are heading to Kiri to help with the war there and to progress with my training. It will be dangerous, but there if we succeed you will be welcomed with open arms. I think I'll come with you. Once we are done in Kiri there's no reason I can't go to Uzu as there. I want to help the rebels and find a home with the people who helped me. Naruto smiles. No, there is no reason at all, and that's a good answer. But if you come with us you must get stronger. Anko hugs Isaribi from behind and grins. I can help with that. Isaribi blushes and nods. It wasn't long before they began hopping islands again, heading towards the east, skirting the edge of Kiri territory, hoping to find the rebels. It took them days. In that time Isaribi, or as she came to be known, Ribi, found her transformation easier and easier and her water attacks stronger with Anko's help. It was total chance when they happened upon the site of a battle. Not a large one, but not exactly a small skirmish either. Tiger frowned. Which side do we help? I can't make out whose side is whose. Naruto reaches out with his senses as Mouse taught him. He was a good sensor before, but with help he had doubled his range. He sensed the chakra of all involved in the skirmish. On has a single Byakugan eye. Most likely stolen. Another has 2 Keki Genkai. Cage level. Another is weird. His chakra is weak, but his sword seems to be shaping it oddly. A half dozen others with minor bloodlines that they don't seem to have much training in. The rest are pure water chakra. The woman with auburn hair and the blue dress is the one with the twin bloodlines. And those around her. I will do this myself. Yugao frowns. You sure? We could help. Naruto nods. She is at least part Uzumaki. I can sense it. And like that he's gone. Next thing anybody knows is a large rumble in the ground, causing the group to look back to the field and the fighting to stop. With the rebels. Lady May, what is that? Shaking her head. I don't know, Al, but it's powerful. Feels like Yugura but stronger. Not as angry. Or at least, not at us. The swordsman whimpers. I hope it's here to help us and not us. She nods and the others agree. If it is, then make peace now, because I don't think we could stop it, Chojuro. Suddenly the ground around them explodes in a sea of dust, throwing the Kiri ninjas back, and the ground begins to shake. A figure is seen in the dust, rising slowly before it speaks in a low but powerful voice. You know, where I come from, people with bloodlines are loved. A little too much if you ask me, but at least they are treated as human or useful tools. But you people treat them like my village treated me. I got lucky. I just got exiled when they feared me too much, but these people get hunted down in their own homes. Tortured, raped, poisoned, burned, executed. Worse, it's not just them but friends and families too. I am considered cold, distant. Most who meet me are afraid, but they don't know the truth. I distance myself because I too fear. Fear to be close to others in case I am betrayed again. And afraid because if I ever lost control of my emotions, I might hurt those I come to care for. That's a problem for you though. See, those I care for are not in range. But you are. And I am angry. Suddenly the earth stops quaking and the dust clears to reveal a young blonde man. One holding a red katana that only two people recognize. Anko and Yugao gasp. He's using it. I thought he was going to wait. Yugao shakes her head. He was, but I suspect it's because he's fighting for family and these people pissed him off. Back on the battlefield, a Kiri ninja steps forward and laughs. A kid? Geez, kid, don't scare us like that. Talking all tough. And what was with that voice? Scary. How do you do that, and where are your parents? Naruto looks at the man and he flinches at his eyes. Cold. The eyes of air. You can ask them when you meet them in the afterlife. Suddenly he disappears and 6 men explode in a bloodbath, shocking everybody around them. Naruto sheaths his sword and goes through hand signs. Wood style. Great tree spear. Around the group of rebels, a ring of spikes grows, piercing the Kiri ninjas them instantly in a gory mess of blood. In the trees everybody looks at Dragon. Hey, don't look at me, I didn't teach him that. Back with the rebels. Wood style. Is he a senju, you think? But why would Konoha exile him? Ao shakes his head. He doesn't look like a senju. Looks more like the 4th Hokage. I am curious about the exile too though. Mei hears none of this and is instead blushing at this man who has come to their rescue. He's quite handsome. Not to mention with those whisker marks, cute as all get out. The others begin to panic as she approaches him but freeze when he fixes them with his eyes. Mei, however, continues forward. Thank you for your help, young man. But who are you? Why did you help us? You are Kiri rebels of the Bloodlines faction. I need to get stronger and I am on a time limit. The fastest way is in war. But I don't like to fight for fools and bigots, so I wish to help you. I will be honest though, I have another agenda. And that is, the Mizukage. Something is wrong with him. All reports say he's a kind man with a love for his people not seen in any of his predecessors. Then he starts exterminating bloodline clans. There is no logic. Something must be controlling him. Mei frowns. I thought the same, but I can't see how. He's a Jinchuriki of the 3 tails. Most Jinchuriki are immune to Genjutsu, but more so for him. Naruto shakes his head. A misconception. Only Jinchuriki who have made friends with their tailed beast are immune, and while Senbi does excel in Genjutsu, he is also lazy and isolationist. He wants only to be left alone. Even if Yugura and he were friends, I doubt he would help him if it means he is left alone. Besides, whatever is strong enough to control a cage-level ninja is strong enough to control any Biju below 6 tails. Ao narrows his eyes. You know a lot about Jinchuriki and Biju. Naruto looks at him closely. Byakugan. Stolen or received during the 3rd Ninja War in a border incursion, I would bet. Ao nods. Don't worry, I have Hyuga friends, but personally I don't see an issue. As to your question, I should know about them because I am the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. Or rather, I was. Ao widens his eye and reaches for a kunai before Mei stops him. What do you mean was? A Jinchuriki who loses their biju dies. Naruto nods. Generally true unless you are an Uzumaki. However, I did not lose my biju but rather he changed into something else. I will however discuss that more in private. Mei nods. How is it you have the wood style? I've only ever heard of the first Hokage using it. That's related to your last question and will also be explained in private. Naruto pauses and frowns. I suspect your next question will be about my exile or my family, so you can save those too. I will call my companions down now if you don't mind. Mei nods and gives an order to remain calm. Naruto nods back the way he came, and the others walk over to him. Mei examines them. Three-leaf Anbu, Anko Mitarashi and Yugao Azuki. I don't know the other girl, but I expect if she is with you then she is strong. Isaribi shakes her head. Not really, but I am getting there. Mei smiles and nods. I would ask about why Anbu are traveling with an exile, let alone two of the Leaf's most prominent kunoichi, but I expect that's related to the other questions I have. Correct. Naruto nods. As expected of somebody with Uzumaki blood. You pick things up quickly. Mei raises an eyebrow but decides questions can wait. Chojuro whispers into Mei's ear. Are you sure we can trust them, my lady? Mei nods. He just saved our lives and asked to join us. Besides, I don't sense any deceit from any of them. He nods and steps back. Naruto eyes his blade. Ah, Haramakere. I wondered about that chakra I felt. Tell me, how does it feel to you? Does it heed you fully? Chojuro widens his eyes and looks to Mei, who nods. Yes, sometimes, but I still find it difficult sometimes. It still resists me. Naruto nods. It was designed with an Uzumaki in mind, as were all the 7 blades. The fact it accepts you means you are doing good, but you need to work on your reserves, stamina, and most of all you need to listen to your sword. Chojuro questions but Mei answers. Uzumaki had high chakra reserves and dense chakra. High stamina and life force. A strict moral code. And the blades are all at least partially sentient, so what he said makes sense. That said, I didn't know about them being of Uzumaki make. Naruto nods. Sadly, most information on their history is either destroyed or lost, though I pieced together a bit. Tell me, how is Zabuza and Haku? Did they join you like I asked? Mei smiles. They did. He didn't mention you though. Naruto nods. He still thinks of his pride too much. Of course, I was barely a genin back then. Mei raises an eyebrow, surprised that he has grown from that to this in just a couple years. Well, let's get back to our camp. I suspect the more we talk, the more questions I will have. Yugao giggles. You have no idea. The rebel base. So, while we wait for them, how did you meet Zabuza and Haku? It was my first C-rank mission. Escort and protect the bridge builder Tazuna until his work was done. But he lied about the mission and we were attacked by missing nin. The demon brothers were pathetic for Chunin, and this is coming from somebody widely considered barely genin material. Why'd one of them and the other died after confirming his target? We decided to continue anyway. Arrogant, I know, but what do you expect with an overconfident Uzumaki who is eager to prove himself in an Uchiha? Anyway, it wasn't long before we encountered Zabuza. Gato had hired him to Tazuna. Our sensei Kakashi was fighting him when he was captured in a water prison. Using solid transformation and a shadow clone, I worked with Sasuke to free our sensei by throwing a demon wind shuriken with my clone in its shadow. He caught the real one before dodging the second, who broke transformation and threw a kunai, forcing him to drop the water prison. After that, Kakashi beat Zabuza, but before he could him, a Kiri Hunter Nin put him under with Senbon to the neck. Had Kakashi not been suffering chakra exhaustion, then he would have noticed sooner that he was fake. It was a week before they attacked again. I was still asleep at the start, but thanks to that I stopped Gato's thugs taking Tezuna's family hostage. After I proceeded to the bridge where Sasuke was fighting the hunter Nin, who we later identified as Haku. He was doing well for an Uchiha who only just unlocked his Sharingan, but Haku was better. Kakashi was about to use his jutsu to Zabuza, and Haku moved to intercept when Gato arrived to betray them. Good thing too, because 3 seconds later and Haku, Zabuza or both would be dead. We put aside our mission to Gato, and after that Zabuza had no reason to stick around any longer. Before he left, I suggested he join you here as your goals aligned. Of course, I expect he raided Gato's mansion for funding first, but we expected as much. Mei nods. He mentioned Kakashi and some brats, but he never went into detail. Like I said, the man has his pride to think of. Beyond what was in the report at Konoha, I honestly never bothered telling anybody. Zabuza walks in at this time. I'm grateful for that kid. Haku grins. Hi Naruto. Naruto smiles. Zabuza. Haku. Still pretending to be a boy? Hey, only for the sake of my sanity. Haku smiles just a little too sweetly. Oh. Zabuza, how's your neck? Zabuza sweats a bit. It's fine Haku, thank you. Okay, so back to my earlier questions now that we are in private. Naruto smiles. Not sure if you will believe half of what I will tell you, but if we are to work together, you deserve that much. My mother was Kushina Uzumaki and my father is your friend Ao, thought as Minato Namikaze. Mei's eyes widen. Well, that explains your good looks. Naruto smiles and bows his head. Thank you. You are quite attractive yourself. Mei smiles. As to the rest, I have a story for you. For the next hour, Naruto informs Mei, Zabuza and Haku of the history of Shinobi, Shinju, and how he came to be the Shinju Jinchuriki. He also explained his bloodlines and his banishment along with his plans. You're right, kid, it's hard to believe. But it fits with what I know of the history of the Biju, and it would explain your ability to use bloodlines that are supposedly dead or not linked to your family. You said you are able to use ice style. Yeah, but barely. Shinju helps me with wood style but says others I must unlock myself. My wind element is strong, but I have only just begun with water, so it's still weak. That's part of why I am here, as I figured what better place to study than in Kiri during a war. Haku looks excited at the prospect of not being the last ice user. I can help with that. Mei smiles. You are right. There is no better place or time for it. And Haku here has been invaluable to us with her ice. I don't doubt she can help you. When you unlock your fire element, I can help you with boil and lava release myself, and could probably spare some scrolls for dead Kiri bloodlines since they aren't any use to us anymore. Well, in exchange for an alliance with the future Uzu, of course. Naruto bows. Thank you, Mei. I would be glad to accept an alliance when the time comes. Can't put my finger on it, but you've changed, kid. Haku smiles. Less cold, less angry, smarter and stronger. You've grown up. He shrugs. Had to happen sooner or later. I was never as dumb as I acted though. Wouldn't have survived 5 years of my life if I was, but I will admit after meeting you two I worked hard to get stronger and smarter. Mei quirks her head. Why did you say I had Uzumaki blood? I can sense chakra. Uzumaki chakra is unique regardless of how diluted. I'm guessing one of your parents or grandparents was an Uzumaki. Given your strength and the density of your chakra, I would guess it was a female family member. The children of female Uzumaki almost always end up having denser chakra. That would also explain your last name being Terumi rather than Uzumaki. Mei nods in thought. Why do you have your mother's name then? Only a very few in Konoha were ever privy to the identity of my parents. My father had a lot of enemies after all. Besides that, I chose to keep it after I left because I feel closer to my mother. In fact, I feel almost nothing for my dad. Well, not anything beyond admiration of his strength anyway. Mei nods. If it was me, I would hate him for doing that to me, but I suppose having grown up hated and alone you can't bring yourself to hate him but instead settle for apathy. Shinju said something similar, but it came across more mathematical than that. Zabuza nods. Understandable. He might live millions of years, but if you don't live as one of us, no amount of observation can let you understand us really. Besides, you said he's been sealed away for around 1,000 years and only had a couple hundred with humans before that. Not a lot of time for a god. He's right about that. For me, that's nothing. So, what exactly do you intend to do here? I imagine I won't be giving you orders like one of my own. Naruto shakes his head. For the most part in camp, one will either be resting or training. Experience in command I can get later. What I need is high-stress situations to test jutsu and to sharpen my instincts. For that you get to tell me where to go and what to do. All kinds of missions from protection to assassination to outright battle or massacres. It's experience in battle I need. I also intend to leave an open invitation for any Uzumaki I find to join Uzu either now or whenever they wish. Mei frowns. Does that invitation extend to me? Naruto smiles kindly. Of course. Whether by name or not, you are Uzumaki by blood. Ao smiles. Could be a good opportunity to find yourself a husband, Lady Mei. Mei smiles sweetly, sending a shiver down the spines of her ninja. Ao, shut up. Or all you. Ao sweat drops. What did I say? Naruto laughs. Definitely an Uzumaki. We might be fun-loving and mischievous, but we also have short fuses about different things. For me it used to be bad-mouthing ramen, but now it's family and those I love. I expect for Mei it's the subject of marriage or relationships. Most likely stemming from a sense of loneliness and frustration. Mei nods with a sad smile. Sounds right. Zabuza frowns. Wow, you have changed, kid. I know psychologists who have spent time trying to figure her out and failed. Well, Uzumaki are relatively simple by nature, but people tend to overcomplicate things. Basically, don't prank us or we will prank you. Don't piss us off or you die horribly. Family before all else. Even clan or village. Mei smiles. Sounds like my mother. Naruto tilts his head. Red hair, short temper, high metabolism. Mei brightens. Yeah, how'd you know? He shrugs. All Uzumaki traits. Red hair or shades stemming from it are extremely common for Uzumaki. The rest comes from our longevity and metabolism. I guess your hair comes from your father then. I seem to recall he had blonde hair. Yeah, Konoha were blinded by their hate to not see the resemblance. Even before Shinju told me, I would think I would have guessed it eventually. Mei nods. How much of this can I tell others? Keep my parents to yourself and Shinju as well. Anything else is fair game. People will make assumptions, but without that information they can't figure anything out. And your name? My friends can call me Naruto, but in the open call me Baratasupiraru, Blood Spiral. Mei smirks. A name fit for an Uzumaki in war. And your companions? I won't speak for them, though I am pretty sure Ribi wants to learn more. She's only just fully gained control of her bloodline and lacks experience and a good teacher. We can only help her so much. Mei nods. What's her bloodline and specialities? A fish-human hybrid transformation that can move fast and breathe in water. She also has good control for water attacks that may or may not be jutsu but don't require hand signs. She specializes in ambush tactics and sabotage and destruction in a waterborne environment. She spent a number of years attacking merchant ships and retrieving their cargo under the thumb of a nasty worm of a man who said he could cure her. Neither knew it was a bloodline and incurable, but he never tried. Intended to dissect her once she lost any use to him. Zabuza scowls. Humans disgust me sometimes. Haku nods. I'll help her out. I specialize in ambush and assassination, as you know, and my water jutsu should suit her well if she can learn them. She will also need conditioning, I would guess. Naruto nods. Don't push her too hard at first. She's barely more than civilian at this point. Her bloodline was forced chemically. It was dormant before a few years ago. He nods. Haku wasn't much better when I found her. I'll take it slow at first. Zabuza was a great teacher. A little harsh at times, but then he had to be given his life then. Zabuza blushes a bit, but only Mei notices. I appreciated Zabuza. He waves it off and leaves with Haku. I missed him when he left Kiri. Even with his reputation, he was a good man. A ninja must be air and his emotions first, but just because he must do that when on a mission does not mean he must at home. Something Danzo never got. Danzo, leader of Root in Konoha and member of the Council of Elders. Teammate of the third Hokage under Tobirama Senju and his rival for the seat. Root was a secret section of Anbu under his sole command. When my lineage came out on the day of my exile and my holdings in the village with it, he tried to me with his root and then attempted to put me under genjutsu with a stolen Sharingan eye. He failed both times and was taken into custody as a traitor and recently executed. Lady Tsunade doesn't know what happened to his root though. They disappeared with no trace. Lady Tsunade, you speak with such respect for somebody who exiled you. Naruto shakes his head. On the contrary, she was not a part of it. The civilian council went over her head to the daimyo. She always treated me as a son. He shrugs. As she should. She is my godmother after all. Jiraiya has little of my respect because he failed his duty as my godfather. Mei giggles. I don't know why, but I half expected you to call him pervy sage or something. Naruto smirks. It fits him, and I would, but honestly everybody has a little pervert in them even if they deny it. Besides, he uses it as a coping mechanism because of his life and his failure to gain the love of the one person he wants. Tsunade. Mei raises an eyebrow. I would never have guessed. He chuckles. Not surprising. To do so you would need to know him, Tsunade, and have read his books. Mei blushes. Well, I have read them. Though I can't say I'm a fan. Too much smut, not enough story for me. A large crowd has gathered to watch a spectacle. As Mei, Zabuza and Haku wait, this is the scene they find. Remember Naruto, the boulders are not just stone but earth. Your body provides the strength, but that doesn't mean they can't be manipulated like any earth. Focus and then expand that focus. Naruto is balancing boulders as large as he is on his hands as he fends off kunai from Anko and Mouse either by shifting his body or manipulating vines with wood style. This was an Anbu level exercise and everybody knew it. They were impressed this was being done by a teenager. And the fact he had his shirt off and was sweating up a storm had more than a few girls drooling. Zabuza smirks to Mei. And I thought I was an early riser. The troops say he's been at this for 2 hours straight with no breaks. I know seasoned war vets who would break from this. Mei nods. My own earth manipulation training wasn't this advanced, but then wood style is more delicate than lava if what I am told is true. Tiger takes note of Mei and nods. Okay kid, that's enough for now. Time to work. Naruto nods and to the shock of the crowd shatters the boulders in his hands. Lady Mei. Sorry if I disturbed your sleep. I only sleep a few hours a night and try not to be loud too early, but I'm not always successful. Mei smiles. I was due to get up anyway. Ready for your first mission? He nods. On the next island over, a potential recruit wishes to join us, but he's boxed in by enemy ninja. We don't want to risk a raw recruit, so we want to get him out quietly. Think you can handle it? The group smirk and Naruto laughs, causing confusion. Something funny. Anko grins. The Anbu always knew Naruto would be perfect for that kind of job even before heading to the academy. Mei raises an eyebrow. Why's that? Zabuza, remember what I used to wear. Hey, you mean that me orange jumpsuit? Yeah, why? People often referred to it that way, but one of my most infamous pranks in the leaf was painting the Hokage monument in broad daylight in that. I wasn't seen until I set off a smoke bomb to draw attention, and even the Anbu couldn't catch me. Eventually I let myself be caught by a chunin who I knew was sympathetic and would later be my teacher. Tiger chuckles. Don't forget sneaking into Anbu headquarters and putting sneezing powder in all our masks. Then a month later dyeing all of the Hyuga's underwear hot pink and hanging them in the street. All but one. I let Hinata out of that, if you remember. I only prank those who deserve it or who need a laugh. Sometimes for a challenge. Naruto shakes his head. My point is, this kind of mission besides general widespread destruction is right up my alley. Mei, Zabuza and Haku are all laughing. I remember trying to figure out what was with all the pink underwear in the street when I requested help from Konoha that day. I also remember asking him about it and he refused to answer for fear of a local prankster. Naruto bows dramatically. I aim to please. Anyway, give me the details of the mission and I'll see what I can do. Mei nods and hands him the file before walking off, still giggling. Naruto checks the file and raises an eyebrow. Huh, that could be useful. But I don't understand why he can't get out himself. Mouse's interest is piqued. Why? The recruit his swift release. Tiger's eyes widen behind his mask. Impossible. The last of that clan died fighting for Iwa against the fourth. It's the reason he is hated in Iwa. The only exception was a missing nin from Konoha named Hirako who died soon after Orochimaru left, ed by Kakashi. Naruto frowns. So, either a family member of a hidden survivor, an experiment of Orochimaru, or a trap. It does seem too good to be true. Swift release is a bitch of a bloodline to beat. Anko looks at Naruto. Normally I would say to drop this one or take backup, but I don't think you can afford to. Naruto nods. This is a test. In that case, if it is a trap, I will try to capture an enemy nin quietly to interrogate. You were intending to teach me in that area after all. Anko smirks sadistically. Sounds like fun. Mouse tilts her head. You think Mei knows about the likelihood of it being a trap? Tiger nods. That might be the point. Not much of a test if he knows all the details. Teaches him to think on his feet and good judgment under pressure. Exactly what he said he wanted. If she knows, then she is doing what we want. Dragon nods. Though it's a little underhanded. Others might be angry at this kind of move, but like you said, it's what we want and she knows that. He might want to work on it a bit though if Naruto saw through it so easy. Naruto shrugs. Can't be perfect. Gotta work with what she's got. Naruto walks away to prepare for his mission. Dragon scratches his head. Anybody notice he's growing faster than expected? Even for a Jinchuriki it shouldn't be possible. Mouse nods. The drive to survive can do that. His life does depend on him growing and fast with what's inside him. It took the whole day to get to the island as Naruto decided to take it slow since he wanted the cover of darkness for this mission and not push his luck. When the time came, he found himself uneasy. It was far too easy to enter the village unseen and find his target. He was about to reveal himself when he felt something off about his chakra. He felt no trace of swift release, and worse, he seemed to be under genjutsu. Seems your instincts serve you well again. Didn't expect the recruit to be a victim though. Didn't even cross my mind. I'll have to remember that in the future. This means rescue and capture as well though. That makes this harder. Why not use shadow clones then? Because since I learned it, I've let other skills drop and have become reliant. Sometimes you need the added challenge to sharpen your skills like a blade. Moving slowly and deliberately through the shadows, he gets close to the victim and covers his mouth before releasing the genjutsu on him. Whispering to the boy, he inquires. Tell me, do you know what is going on? He shakes his head. Last I remember, my father caught me practicing with my bloodline and he panicked. I blacked out and woke up here. Don't know what happened to my mother though. Hope she's alright. Naruto nods. What's your bloodline? Mother called it Shikatsumyaku. I can manipulate, harden and even grow new bones. She said it's a dead bloodline she never expected to see again after her brother died. A Kagaya bloodline. Useful and powerful but with drawbacks. It seems Kagaya had more descendants than expected. That was her main bloodline. I wondered if the name was a connection to her. The boy frowns. I'll explain later. If it's found out, you are free, they will you, so we need to escape. Have any stealth training? I can move fairly silently and keep out of sight fairly well, but anybody above Chunin could spot me. My chakra signature is difficult to hide. Shouldn't be a problem. Let's go. He nods and they leave the village. Naruto was again struck by how easy this had been. Walking for a few miles, he stopped and looked to the boy. This mission was not what was expected and has been far too easy for my liking. I need to capture a prisoner for interrogation. I won't be long, so stay here and out of sight. He nods and Naruto disappears. An hour later he finds an isolated guard. Low Junin, so not in command but high enough to know something, and best of all he's alone. Naruto moves silently behind the man and knocks him out with a quick chop to the neck and seals him in a prisoner scroll before returning to his charge. You're back. Did you find what you want? Naruto shows him the prisoner scroll and gestures to follow. We will make camp near the coast and then we need to talk. The boy nods with his curiosity piqued. An hour later the moon is getting high and Naruto calls a stop. Setting his clones to make camp, he talks to the boy. I'm Baratasupiraru. What's your name? Kusomaru. Naruto flinches. Your father was not a kind man. Kusomaru chuckles. No, he wasn't. I take it yours is not real. Naruto nods. An alias for now. Do you know of the civil war going on right now? Rumors only. We lived on the fringes of Kiri. He nods. Years ago, something happened to make the Mizukage hate all bloodlines. At first it was simply incurring a curfew in Kiri. Then it was the arresting of those using their gifts in public. Soon it was a massacre. The first few times was quiet. The extermination of a clan or two. Then survivors escaped and spread word. Soon those with bloodlines were so feared even their own families them, as happened to a friend of mine. You can guess where I am going. Kuso nods. Revolution and resistance. So, my father placed me under genjutsu to lure them in with promise of a new recruit ending them. Probably resulting in my own death in the process. Which means my mother is probably already dead. Naruto nods. Your mother belonged to the Kagaya clan. His eyes bulge. Those madmen. Naruto grins. Oh, not all of them. Even those who never awakened their bloodline were prone to sickness and madness though. More so if you did. I met a Kagaya serving Orochimaru once. He was strong but he died because of his sickness, but he was sane if fanatical in his devotion to his master. You seem to have escaped that fate though. Lucky you. Kusomaru looks sad. Yeah, lucky me. Ah, don't feel too bad. Would it make you feel better if I told you of your family? This gains his attention. Naruto spends much of the night speaking of Kagaya and her family. Kusomaru listens attentively as this is information about his mother's family he was always denied. Hey, no wonder our family went mad so often. I would like to help the rebels and bring peace to Kiri. Naruto nods. That's why I came. Your bloodline was a lie but your name and face matches my file. Mission was rescue and recruitment. Kuso frowns. What were you expecting? Naruto frowns. Oddly enough, that's what tipped me off to the trap. If they had stuck to the truth, I wouldn't suspect anything, but swift release is not only a dead bloodline but exceedingly powerful. Far too good to be true and would have allowed you to escape without my help easily. You think somebody was tipping you off or just didn't think it through? Naruto shrugs. Could be either. That's why I took that guard. Well, get some sleep. We leave early tomorrow, and it will take half the day to cross to the next island. Kuso nods and goes to sleep. Lunchtime the next day. A haggard-looking Kusumaru walks alongside Naruto through the camp towards Mei. Ah, Baratasupiraru, I see you have succeeded. Any trouble? He nods. More than a little. The mission was easy enough, but things don't quite add up. Anko and I will interrogate a prisoner I took to find out more. Meet Kusomaru. He bows to Mei and Mei frowns. Interesting name. He chuckles. So I'm told. My father was not kind. Mei smiles kindly. Is it true you have swift release? He shakes his head. No. I am afraid that was a lie. I was under genjutsu and the bait for a trap. I have the Kagaya bloodline. Don't worry, I'm perfectly sane and healthy and wish to be of use here. Mei nods. I knew a few Kagaya. Not all were mad. Rain was particularly kind. Kusomaru's eyes widen. She's my mother. But, I fear she is dead. I am sorry. But hopefully you can help us keep that fate from others by helping us end this war. He nods. Baratasupiraru, keep me posted on your prisoner. I am curious as to what happened. Later that day, a few people were avoiding a certain corner of the camp where screams of a haunting nature could be heard. Many people shivered in sympathy of the poor soul inside the cabin recently constructed there. None wanted to know what was happening to him. Ha 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 ha, kid, that was great. You're a natural. I mean, I scare people with my sadistic nature, but that cold face is perfect for this work. What was that seal though? He shrugs. Kurenai sensei showed me a genjutsu called hell viewing. I thought it might be good for torture if I recreated the effect in a seal. Fear is a great motivator after all, and few people ever are truly fearless or in control enough to ignore it. Also, since it's a seal and not genjutsu, it's unbreakable and doesn't feel like one, so the target is less aware of it. Anko smirks. Now I know why Ibiki said they would never let your mother into T&I. That's downright sinister. I love that. Naruto shakes his head at Anko's antics and goes to tell Mei the news. In her tent, Mei is dealing with the complaints and has a slight headache when he walks in. Ah, there you are. Care to tell me why half the camp is scared shitless of your cabin? Naruto looks a little sheepish. Sorry. Should have thought to put up silencing seals. I'll fix that later. Well, did you learn anything yet? He nods. It seems the reason it was set up as it was and was so easy was because they expected a different response. They expected a small group or yourself to try a more direct approach. It only worked because I have been working on my habit of depending on certain skills which make my work easier. They never expected a silent infiltration of a single person, so security was more spread out. Mei nods. That means Yugura has finally branded me as a threat. He nods. Seems so. How do you think he will respond? If he holds to his previous nature, he will investigate what went wrong, then look for information on who is responsible and try to have them eliminated. Fat chance of that. I left no evidence. Didn't use any jutsu or even surface walking, so no chakra signature. No witnesses or bodies. Nothing. Only way he could find out is if somebody here says something. She nods and smiles. Maybe we should use that. Naruto raises an eyebrow. Use me as bait for an ambush. If we could do that a few times, it might piss him off and force his hand. Mei nods. And end this all the sooner. If you have some high priority targets in mind to build my reputation, it will work all the better, I think. Mei smirks. Oh, looking to get famous, are we? Naruto shrugs. Live long enough and do a good job, fame is inevitable. This is about more than that. A nobody suddenly popping up and taking credit for foiling his plans is nothing. But a ninja taking out his best is a more tempting target. Mei nods in thought. Good point. Work on your Sweden for a while and I will see what I can dig up. Good work by the way. Naruto nods and leaves to rest. 3 months of working with Haku on his Sweden and Tiger on his Doden along with going on some missions had yielded amazing results. Especially once he started using shadow clones to speed up his Sweden training. He was now capable of using most of his current wood-style jutsu without help and his ice style was almost at Haku's level. She was talking to him about teaching him her demonic ice mirrors. Thanks anyway Haku, but that jutsu should remain with you. Besides it doesn't fit my style. Haku smiles sadly. Oh well, I am surprised how fast you learn though. Shadow clones are scary. Naruto chuckles. I wouldn't worry. I'm about the only person who can use them that way. Haku blushes. When this war is done would you like to go out with me? Naruto frowns sadly. You are my friend Haku and I am grateful for the training. I do find you attractive, but I don't think of you that way. Haku looks at him. So, no chance. Naruto shakes his head and chuckles. Tsunade suggested I make a CRA for Uzu but I told her. I will find one person to love. If my future wife wants to invite others to our bed, then I won't complain but it must be by agreement. If you are still interested in me when and if that happens you will have a shot at me. Until then let's stick to friends. Haku smiles and nods. Okay. It's something I guess. Walking back through the camp Naruto smiles. He's become a famous person in Kiri. Assassinating high-profile commanders, rescuing valuable resistance members, the destruction of 3 enemy outposts single-handed and the capture of the head of the Kiri hunter Nins most recently. Yugao would be chomping at the bit to get him and soon. He didn't know the half of it. In Kiri, what do we know of this Baratasupiru person? A council member sighs. It's infuriating but very little. We have a description and a few accounts of him using wood style which is confusing as people say he isn't a senju. One thing we managed to get was that he's an exile from Konoha and they are pissed at his loss. We inquired about a name as it's obviously an alias but the Hokage has apparently clamped down on her council and nobody is talking. We got some rumors to his parents but with him having wood style it makes no sense. A middle-aged and well-built man frowns. I managed to get information from an informant that he's responsible for springing the trap I set up 3 months ago with my son. He came out of nowhere. Investigation into it left nothing. No chakra residue, no witnesses and only a single missing guard. Whoever he is he has skill in infiltration that is beyond many of our own Junin and even hunters. Based on his other achievements he is also powerful and skilled in widespread destruction. He took the headhunter Nin alive with no trace just like my son. Yugura nods. It appears if we are to be rid of him, he must be lured out and I must finish him myself. Shu. The Junin all speak among themselves before Yugura silences them. I am well aware this is likely what they want but this is what this was heading to anyway. Besides I am curious about him. I am told he's quite young. Exceptional even with a bloodline don't you think? Shu nods. Agreed. My source in the enemy camp tells me that every 2 weeks he spends a full day alone in a cabin near the sea. Nobody knows what he does and it's the only thing he does consistently. He's due to visit again in 3 days. Yugura frowns. Do we have the location? Shu nods. It's on the edge of Kiri's main island to the east. No other reported activity in the area. Yugura chuckles. I see. My lord. It's not a trap as such nor is it personal as you might think. It's an invitation to speak and possibly for a duel. An invitation to end hostilities without further bloodshed. A challenge. This Baratasupiru is intelligent and bold. I like him already. I will leave tomorrow alone to accept. Dismissed. Shu stays behind as everybody leaves. Something to say, Shu. Is this wise, my lord? He shakes his head. Regardless of whether it is or not, it is inevitable this was ends. This Bharatasupairaru and the war continues until the next challenge. Fail and I die, and you are free to make up with your son if he wishes it. Shu looks guilty. I do not blame you, Shu. You have more than proved your loyalty to me already. Back with the resistance. A messenger is rushing full speed through camp towards the command tent. Bursting inside as Mei is in a meeting with Naruto and his team takes place, he tries to catch his breath. Gasp, Lady Mei, urgent news from our spy. The Mizukage has taken the challenge. He leaves now to the Bharatasupairaru retreat. Mei smirks. You were right. Are you certain you are up to the challenge? Naruto nods. I hope to resolve it without violence, but it is doable. I admit this will be only my second time against another Jinchuriki and it will be a challenge, but I don't see it as a likelihood I will lose, and if I do then nothing changes. The war goes on. Mei nods. Don't be reckless. I want you back here alive whether you succeed or not. Naruto nods with a smile. Don't worry, I won't die just yet. After all, I have family now. Mei smirks. I had no idea 6 of my own were remnants of Uzu. I'm happy they will have a home again, though I had hoped it would be Kiri. Fight well, Naruto, and bring peace. Naruto leaves to pack. Anko is worried. This is his biggest challenge yet. Last time it was a crazy Aikibi and even with Gamabunta he barely won. The tails of a Biju do not multiply evenly. 3 tails are not 3 times stronger than 1. Hana frowns. It's not. Dragon nods. More like each tail multiplies to 10 times what the last one is. The exception being the Hachibi and Kyubi, who are close in power to each other. About 20% if I am right. In all likelihood the 3 tails is about 30 times stronger than Shukaku. Of course, I don't think you need to worry as Naruto's strength has grown 100 times from then at least. It's not a sure thing, but he'll survive, I think. Mei nods. That sounds right. I could fight on even ground with Yugura as long as he doesn't release his beast completely. And he is capable of that. 3 days later, Naruto is sitting in his cabin at a table with a freshly brewed cup of tea when the door opens. Hello, Lord Yugura. Tea. Yugura smiles in amusement. I would thank you. Taking sip from his cup, he raises an eyebrow. This is good. You would be surprised what you can grow with wood style. Yugura smirks into his cup. This cabin, for example, I noticed it's suppressing isobu. Why is it not affecting your own beast though? I know wood style is indiscriminate that way, and I know you have one. Naruto nods. I had the 9, but it reverted into the Shinju a couple years ago. It's not affected. Yugura nods. That explains your wood style. Might I ask who your parents are? Naruto looks down sadly. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. Regardless of how this ends, the information won't matter. My mother was Kushina Uzumaki. Yugura raises an eyebrow in surprise. The red-hot bloody habanero. Based on your hair and features, I would guess that means your father was Minato Namikaze. Naruto nods. That explains why the Hokage is so protective of your identity even after your exile. She's my godmother. Tell me why you came here and why participate in this war. I have a few reasons. You are actually one of them. Oh, you may not notice or remember, but you did not always hate bloodlines. Can you remember why you started the bloodline purge? Yugura's eyes widen a moment and then blank. No, I can't. I try, but every time my mind blanks. When I push too hard on the memory, I black out and people die around me. I consulted doctors, but they can't find anything wrong. Naruto nods. Only a few in the wood could, and only if they knew what to look for. Looking him in the eye. Tell me, you can still control Isobu, but does he speak to you anymore? Do you remember exactly when this started? Yugura shakes his head. Isobu is never much of a speaker, but no. And the last thing I remember before this started is a man in an orange mask with a single hole for an eye. Do you know what is wrong with me? He nods. A genjutsu. Placed simultaneously on you and Isobu. Only one clan is capable of it. Uchiha. Seems the man responsible for my mother's death and Kyuubi's attack on Konoha is responsible for the bloodline purge. Can it be broken? I know some Sharingan genjutsu are impossible. Naruto nods. It can, but it's risky. See, genjutsu don't usually work on Jinchuriki because the Biju hate to be controlled and break them. It takes skill to do it. To break this one is simple. I just need to free Isobu from it first so he can release you. Yugura smirks. Hence the suppression of his chakra. If the jutsu is based in him, then he would stop us talking under the jutsu's command. Sadly, it also means he must be released to break it. Are you certain you are up to the task? I won't say it will be easy, but I can do it. The issue is what happens after. There will be many who blame you regardless of the reasons. Best case you step down as Mizukage. Worst case a public execution, though I expect Mei will prevent that. Especially once I tell her about the Akatsuki. Yugura perks up at that. That name is familiar. But why? Kisame is a member. They are taking the Biju from their Jinchuriki. Yugura nods. Ah yes, Kisame. He disappeared about the time this all started. So how are we going to do this? Putting his cup down. As I said, Biju hate to be controlled. Isobu might be under genjutsu, but from his perspective I am suppressing him. As soon as that stops, he will force his way out to me. Let him out, but try to hold him back if you can. It will make it easier to break the jutsu. Before we do that, can I ask your other reasons? I admit I am curious. Naruto nods and explains the need to get stronger before Shinju is released. I see. So, you are on the clock, so to speak. Very well then, let's not waste your time then. As they walk together through the woods, Yugura stops in pain. Seems you were right. Isobu is quite upset with you. Hehe, to be you. Good luck. Naruto steps back and Yugura transforms into a giant three-tailed tortoise. Isobu lets go a roar that can be heard throughout Kiri. Naruto remains unaffected. One tail Naruto. This is your challenge, so it's all I will allow. I hope it doesn't come to that, but thank you. Isobu. Remember yourself. You are being controlled. Break it. RGGGG. Naruto shakes his head. The hard way it is. Sorry for the pain to come, my friend. Isobu spins around, slashing the trees nearby with his tails, clearing the area. Naruto jumps into the air using a shadow clone to toss him higher. Isobu looks around for his foe and, having lost him, moves towards the ocean intending to leave, but Naruto slams a Rasengan into his back. It causes no visible damage, but the beast roars in pain and tossed him off. Naruto recovers quickly, using wood style to lift and contain the beast before using Doden to hurl a boulder at it, knocking it into the ocean. Isobu is dazed and in pain a moment before setting its eye back on its foe. It begins charging a black orb of chakra in its maw. Isobu swallows it and unleashes a beam of destructive energy. My advice: don't get hit by that. Shinju, I love that you developed a sense of humor, but now is hardly the time. Ha 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 ha. Shaking his head, Naruto narrowly dodges the beam and charges Isobu. As soon as he hits the water, he starts going through hand signs for a water jutsu of the Uzumaki clan. A temporary truce is ordered among both rebel and loyalist armies until the results of the battle are determined. All commanders of both are heading towards the site of the fight in peace. They arrive to a curious sight. A badly injured Yugura is sitting and drinking tea with a half Naruto on the shore of the ocean with a large and newly formed tidal pool behind them. Both of them laughing like old friends. Mei walks up to them with a quirked eyebrow. Might I ask what is going on? Yugura smiles at Mei. It is good to see you again, May. Your friend and I were just discussing a few of his pranks over a cup of tea. May shakes her head. I meant, why are you two not fighting? His eyes widen. Oh, that. Yes. I'm sorry about this past 20 years. I'm afraid I was under the influence of a genjutsu. May nods, accepting this. We suspected as much but had no idea how to fix it. A man from behind yells in rage. Genjutsu or not, you expect us to just forgive you? Yugura shakes his head. Not at all. I have lost the trust of my people, so I will step down as Mizukage and name May as my successor. She can decide my fate. May nods and the people mostly accept that, though some only grudgingly. If I might ask, how did you break the genjutsu and what is that formation out there? I am pretty sure it wasn't there a week ago. Naruto nods. As you know, genjutsu are hard to cast on a jinchuriki because the biju tend to break them, so to do it you must cast two at the same time. One on beast and one on host. In this case the beast contained the command for the jutsu to maintain it. Yugura's memory was locked by the jutsu, so any attempt to remember why he was doing what he was doing would either cause pain or blackout and release isobu to destroy all around him. To break a genjutsu you must either force the foreign chakra out of the victim's system or cause enough pain to override it. Some genjutsu, such as those caused by a Sharingan, can only be broken the second way. You likely felt me method of doing that. Zabuza laughs. Kid, I think the mainland felt that. Yugura chuckles and Naruto blushes a little. My control isn't perfect on that jutsu yet, so I kind overpowered it a bit. Isobu says it's his first time experiencing shellshock. He also thanks you, by the way. May frowns. Sharingan, huh? Is Konoha responsible? Naruto shakes his head. No. Yugura remembers a man in an orange spiral mask with one eye. That fits the description of the man who controlled the Kyuubi on the day of my birth and is responsible for my mother's death. May's eyes widen, then looks at Naruto with sympathy. Sorry. Don't be. You didn't know. As for Yugura, I believe we will put you under guard until we can determine for certain if you are at risk of falling under control again. Naruto and Yugura nod. I would suggest in a place only you and a select few know of, under heavy guard. Why's that? Yugura nods. Akatsuki. Yeah, a group of 9S class missing nin who are hunting the biju to reform the jubi. They have no idea they are being manipulated, and I doubt they will listen to reason. Known members include Kisame Hoshigaki and Itachi Uchiha. Though given recent events in Konoha, I would question Itachi's loyalty to the group. Just between us. May nods. I see. Well, first thing is first, we should head to Kiri to make everything official, then we can talk and share intelligence. After that, I believe a celebration is in order before we begin rebuilding. Yugura smiles and Naruto nods. Word spread throughout the nations quickly following their return to Kiri of the end of the war and the hero who made it happen. Naruto also discovered a new horror in life he had only seen from the other side. Fangirls. For him there was no celebration but rather a week-long game of hide, seek and run for your life. Even Shinju had come to fear the common fangirl. If Kagaya was a fangirl, she would have destroyed this world with her power. Before this day I have never felt true fear. I pity you, Naruto. I know the secret to beating the bane of all Kage, and I have faced two biju, but even I would fear the horror of fangirls. Write that down. That sounded good. Might be useful in your book. Naruto pauses mid-step and slaps his face. Damn, I am stupid. Shadow clones, of course. Naruto creates 100 clones and has them scatter, taking positions around town to keep the fangirls busy. Fear makes even a genius falter. Fall to the power of the fangirl. Oh, can I use that? That was great. Shinju feels a slight pride and agrees. I think I finally understand how Jiraiya feels when writing his books. I just hope I don't start giggling like a pervert. There are worse things than a pervert. Hey, yeah, like a super pervert. But I get what you mean. I don't think those things bear mentioning though. Like fanboys. Hey, I want to rest in peace when I die, not in eternal torment. Don't paint such images in my mind. Hey, sorry. Zabuza sees Naruto and smirks. Escape those fangirls I see. Naruto sighs in relief. Yeah. Oh, how's Ribi? Well, she's a model student. You were right, she has a real talent for Sweden. At this rate, her control will be better than mine this time next year and she can go to Uzu happy. She told me that was her goal. Disturbingly honest, that one. Naruto nods. She's a good person at heart. Zabuza frowns. So, when you leaving? Soon. With the end of the war, my goals here are complete until I take control in Uzu. He nods. Haku will be sad to see you leave. You know how she feels for you. He nods. We've talked about it. I don't feel the same. I'm not against an open relationship if the wife I choose agrees and Haku really wants something between us, but Haku is my friend and nothing more for now. Zabuza nods. Not happy about that, but at least you're giving her options and not breaking her heart. Anyway, Mei said she wants to see you. Naruto nods and goes to the Mizukage Tower. Ah, Naruto, I have a mission request for you. Naruto raises an eyebrow. Huh. That was fast. Mei nods. They originally contacted Konoha for Kakashi, but he told the Hokage to send it to you thinking it might help you. How's that? Well, we gave you our scrolls on the Yuki Jutsu at Haku's request, but originally her clan came from Snow Country. The client is a movie director for the Princess Gale movies to protect their actress on a film trip to Snow Country. Might help you with your ice jutsu to go there. Naruto nods. Yukie Fujika's. She's popular in Konoha. I saw her first movie. Good story, but I think the effects needed work. Well, it won't hurt to speak to him at least. Mei nods. He's in town now shooting a few scenes. Name's Sandayu. Naruto nods and walks out to meet him. Thanks, Mei. If all goes well, I'll see you again in about 4 years. Mei smiles. A time to celebrate a new leader in Uzu. I look forward to the party. Naruto grins and leaves. 30 seconds later, Mei laughs hearing Naruto yelling in fear. Fangirls found me again. An hour later, Naruto and his team were meeting with Sandayu, who's in a panic. Find her. Something wrong, Sandayu. Are you this Baratasupiraru I've heard of? He nods. Good. My lead actress has run off. Seems she's against going to snow, but I'm on contract. Naruto frowns. I haven't agreed to take the job just yet, but I can help find her. Hana, I suppose you wouldn't be able to sense here since you never met her. Sandayu, do you have anything with a scent on it? Oh yes, the tiara she wore this morning, will that do? Hana nods and takes it. Showing it to the triplets, they take a sniff and immediately walk off down the street. 15 minutes later, they stop outside a seedy-looking bar and Naruto frowns. Let me take care of this. He enters and walks up to the bar, sitting beside a decidedly drunk woman. Hey cutie. Share a drink? Sure. Least I can do for Princess Gale. PFF, that old fool Sandayu send you, did he? He shrugs. Hired me as a bodyguard for your next shoot. Haven't decided whether to take it or not. I advise not. You'll only die. Many have tried. I was thinking not anyway until I felt the chakra in this room. Tell me, why would Ice Ninja take an interest in an actress? Yukie's eyes widen. Don't panic. Their objective appears to be observation for now. But I'm guessing Kakashi sending me this job, and all this means you are more than you appear. Life there was hell for me, and going back will mean my death. I refuse. I know all about hell. PFF, what would you know? My own village tried to me for the first 8 years of my life. I lived on the street from age 4 and ate garbage to survive. When they failed, they tried to sabotage my education. When I grew too powerful, they had me exiled. Bullshit. No child could survive that alone. Really. I know a boy whose own father tried 5 times to have him. He's now cage. I survived for 2 reasons. What is sealed within me and my will to win their acceptance. Over time that will broke, and I became cold. Stopped smiling. Stopped trying to make friends. What happened? You sound plenty cold but not like you are describing. Naruto chuckles. You could say I found God, but more accurate to say a demon change into one and helped me realize I was wrong. You might not believe that, but then you don't know the origin of the biju, so I can't blame you. My point is this. Whatever you are hiding from has found you, and regardless of if you go to snow, it will find you. Your chances are better with me and my team. Your choice. I'll be outside. Naruto gets up to leave and Yukie frowns considering his words. 2 minutes later she downs her glass and walks out to meet him. Fine, but I still say we all die there. Next day they were all on a ship to snow country. Waking up with a hangover, our actress finds a glass of water and painkiller on her bedside table. Taking it and walking outside, she sees Naruto shirtless in the ice-cold temperatures meditating on the prow of the ship. Seeing a man in a tiger mask, she asks, "What's he doing?" "He's going to freeze to death. He's speaking to the Shinju." "Wait, he was serious about that?" Tiger nods. Baratasupiraru rarely lies. The term for people like him is Jinchuriki. They usually have higher body temperatures than the rest of us and never get sick unless their demon, or in this case God, allows it. He could drink the strongest stuff in the world all day and never get tipsy. Ninja are weird. Anko laughs. Girly, you got no idea. Within the mindscape. So how am I progressing? As you get stronger, your body will change. The first has begun already. Slowly your hair is turning red like your mother's. Next will be your teeth. Less sharp. Then your body musculature will grow denser. Then your bones. Finally, your whisker marks will fade, though not completely. And last of all, you will unlock the Shinjugen. The God Tree's Eye. How close am I to mastering the elements? There are 3 stages to each. Konoha regards second stage in all but fire to be mastery. Suna the same, but with wind, and so on and so forth. In Sweden, Doden, Futon and Raiden you are at stage 2. In Kaden you get a stage 1 inherited from Kurama. The secret to mastering each element can be found in their respective country, with the exception of Sweden, which was only mastered by the second Hokage. Lucky for you, I can help with that once your chakra coils grow a little more. Likely soon after this mission. Fire mastery though can be done as soon as you return to the mainland. Tiger can help you with stage 2. Until then. Naruto opens his eyes to see a glacier ahead and Sandayu is yelling about shooting a scene. Tiger eyes up. We aren't alone on this glacier. He nods understanding and relays the message to the others. What's it like having a god in your head? Not as bad as you might think. He doesn't quite understand humans, but he gives good advice and helps with my training. Though he's developed a sense of humor, unfortunately. He's funny, but he has bad timing for it. Priorities aren't huge to somebody without age. She nods. Your friends from the bar are on this glacier. Stick close to my team if anything happens. After a productive morning of filming, the crew is about to pack up when a hill on the glacier explodes and 3 figures rise out of it, moving at high speed towards them. Naruto intercepts and punches the leader in the face, shocking them. Surrender the princess, punk, or die. Naruto looks at him coldly, making him shiver. So, she's a princess pretending to be an actor pretending to be a princess. Ironic. Who wants her? She's a threat to the rightful ruler of this land, Dodo Kazuhana. Naruto nods. One last question, and do try to get this right. She's protected by 3 Anbu, 2 ex-Anbu and a high Chunin. Even if you did take me down, what makes you think you could get past them? The pink-haired woman answers with a smirk. We're wearing the latest chakra armor, brat. Jutsu are worthless on us. So, you are saying a strong ninja only has to have strong jutsu? That's you answer. The man with a metal arm laughs. No, we are saying no matter how strong your jutsu or they are useless against us. Naruto smiles and the leader Nader shivers. Something is not right about this kid. I know I seen him before. But where? Care to test your theory? The man rears back his metal arm to throw it at him only to miss as Naruto dodges and closes the distance in the blink of an eye and smashes a Rasengan into his armor. It looks like it will hold for a moment, causing the man to smirk until they all hear a crack in panic. Naruto smashes through the armor and man all in one blow, causing a rain of blood in the snow. Mizor. Fubuki retreat now. Both remaining ninja leave in a hurry as Naruto walks back to the ship covered in blood. The director mutters to the cameraman. Tell me you got that. The cameraman smirks. Yup. As he passes Yukie he smiles. So, a princess huh? This just got more interesting. As they board the ship Naruto speaks to Sandayu and Yukie. So, what's the real story here? Sandayu sighs and tells Naruto about the princess and her escape from her uncle after her father's murder with the help of Kakashi. He also tells him about the plan to inspire the people to rise up against Dodo so Koyuki Kazuhana can reclaim her throne. I don't want that. My father always spoke of the coming spring, but it's always winter here. Always cold as ice. I have no interest in ruling this country. I would never be a good ruler anyway. I only play a princess. Naruto shrugs. Like being a parent, nobody can really teach or tell you how to rule well. You just have to act the part and try your best. Nobody said you had to rule without help though. That's what advisors are for. Face facts here. You may not like this place and feel you are not the right person to rule, but your people need you. Dodo is a tyrant and a nasty one at that. Consider that as bad as you might be, you couldn't be worse than him. You act the part of a princess. So then do that. Nobody's perfect and everybody makes mistakes. So own M and fix M. That's how you will rule. Naruto walks away and Koyuki frowns in thought. Hana smiles. That's the second time I've seen him act like a leader in that way. Kid's gonna do Uzu proud. Uzu. Mouse nods. Uzushiogakure. The island nation of the Uzumaki clan that fell at the start of the Third Ninja War. He's rebuilding it and gathering the remnants of the clan. He will rule them in a few years when he is strong enough, and I suspect he will rule well. Like a king. Tiger shakes his head. Close but more like a cage. He doesn't know when to give up, does he? Hana chuckles. My brother once told me something about him. Said he doesn't give up or go back on his word. That's his nindo. His ninja way. Koyuki smile a little at that as she watches him. Then she frowns. Does he dye his hair? Anko looks at her funny. No, why? His hair is slowly turning red. I didn't notice until now, but there are more red streaks in it than when we first met. Dragon nods. So, there is. I'll ask him later about that. A few days later, Koyuki had gone missing again after another shoot. Anko was laughing. Well, if she ever quits being an actor or princess, she might make a good ninja. Naruto shakes his head and leaves in the direction he can sense her chakra in. It didn't take long to find her. So why are you running this time? I told you I don't want to do this. Naruto shakes his head. I'll make you a deal. I dodo and then you can decide. You speak ofing so easily. Doesn't it bother you? I must. I try to save those who deserve it. Yes, it bothers me, but I don't lose any sleep over them because I know I have done what I can to make most people's lives better buying monsters. As a ninjing is always going to be a part of my life. Do you remember your first? He nods. Everybody does, even if they try to forget. For me it was an accident. A drunk villager tried to me on my birthday. It was one of my better ones because I managed to avoid the mobs. He came at me with a knife and I ducked. He tripped over my prone body and collided with a wall, and the knife slipped between his ribs. He was dead in seconds. It wasn't the first time the villagers complained to the Hokage calling for my death, but it was the first time I was brought before the village council. Even after all their trying, though, the evidence was against the drunk, so they were forced to let me go. I was 6, if you were wondering. My second was more deliberate. My first C-rank mission, we were attacked by 2 Chunin missing nin. Why'd one and the other was after giving us information. The demon brothers Maizu and Gozu. A child so young should not be forced to. Naruto shrugs. Who was forced? I chose the life of a ninja. It was that or live with the villagers' hatred my entire short life and have no way to defend myself. Besides, for the most part, genin don't even get to see death until they are older unless the village is at war. Koyuki frowns. Sandayu said you were a war hero. Yet you don't belong to a village, and your friends said you were going to rule a village you are rebuilding. Naruto nods. I need to get stronger. My seal was designed for the 9 tails, and Shinju is a lot stronger. It can't contain him even though he is not trying to break it. When it does break, he has 2 choices. Without his body he will fade outside the seal, but he has chosen to pass on his knowledge and power to me. The problem is it will me if I am not strong enough, and if the seal breaks before then I will die. It's long been proven that war creates the strongest ninja. The first and second Hokages and the Sannin are proof of that. So, I helped the rebels in Kiri win their war. I had other reasons as well which were more personal, but that's not important right now. I see. And your hair. I know it was blonde when we left, but it's changing. Yeah, as I get stronger some things will change. My hair is the first. My fangs will recede, and my whiskers will fade a little. My muscles will become dense, then my bones. Last of all, my eyes. Your eyes. That's a shame. Cold as they are, they're beautiful. Naruto smiles. Thanks. They won't change as such, but rather I will unlock a dujutsu. Shinju says unlike some of its brother bloodlines, it can be turned off just the same as the Sharingan, so it won't be an issue. Well, we should get back. I'm sure Sandayu is worried. As they walk back through the tunnel, Koyuki frowns. Do you hear something? Naruto kneels and moves aside the snow, finding a metal rail with chakra flowing through. I hate the technology in this country. Picking Koyuki up, he runs as fast as he can. Even as they reach the end of the tunnel and throw themselves to the side, it's a close thing as a train screeches to a stop right behind them. The side panels of the train open up to reveal Dodo. Ah, Koyuki, so wonderful to see you. You have grown beautiful. Please come closer so I can get a better look. Sandayu and many samurai reveal themselves from behind a bluff, and he yells at Dodo. I have waited many years to avenge my lord. I am Sandayu of the 2nd Legion, and I charge you with treason. Dodo looks bored. I thought you got rid of all these rebels, Nader. Me too. I will rectify that. Raising a hand, the side of the train opens up to reveal a wall of kunai launchers. Fire. Thousands of kunai arch into the air at the rebels who are charging down the slope. It would have been a slaughter if a wooden wall had not risen out of the snow to stop most of them. Damn. Some got through. Releasing the wall, he then smashes the train with a Doden pillar. In the destruction, Naruto had missed Fubuki swooping down on her wings and snatching the princess before retreating to a blimp which had detached from the train and was out of his range. Tiger grunts. This makes things more complicated. Naruto shakes his head, watching the blimp get further away. No, it doesn't. Dragon looks at Naruto. How so? Naruto grins and they shiver. Now I don't have to look for Dodo. Looking at them, he grows cold again. Remain with the crew and provide medical and protection until I give word. I'm going after the princess. Sandayu, who has been listening, frowns. Even a ninja would have trouble keeping up with an airship. Naruto drops his weights, cracking the ground and causing him to fall. Looking at Tiger, he nods and takes off at a jog before breaking into a run and flashing out of sight. Hana shakes her head. I never noticed the weights. When he finally learns Hiraishin, he's going to be more feared than his father. Anko laughs. Keeps going the way he is, and he won't need to learn it at all. 2 hours later, the airship is in sight once more and Dodo is rather angry. Fubuki hold him off. Saluting, she takes off after Naruto. Naruto intends to ignore her until she begins dropping ice bombs. The ground around him cracks and icicles rise from the explosives attempting to skewer him. Naruto dodges them easily, frustrating her. Ga, stand still, bastard. You remind me of a friend of mine. Sakura Haruno. Any relation? Fubuki frowns. Haruno, my family used to be named Haruno before we left the land of fire. Might be a distant cousin. Why? Still trying to bomb him? Naruto frowns. I have unresolved issues with her. Care to help me with that? Blinking in surprise, she pauses. Oh look, you're cute and all, but I kinda gotta you. Naruto grins. I think you misunderstand. It's not love but anger. Doden. Hammer. A giant stone warhammer grows from the ground and Naruto tosses it into the air right past Fubuki. She grins and turns to him. Missed. She then frowns as she notices he's once again going through hand signs. Raiden. Mjolnir. A bolt of lightning arcs past here and once again she is confused. Do you have lousy aim or something? You really should keep your eye on the still moving object. What goes up must come down. Her eyes widen before she is driven into the ground by the electrified falling hammer. Barely alive, she looks at Naruto. How? Your armor can absorb chakra and maybe even elements, but enough physical damage and any armor will break. Doden is perfect for that. Raiden just gave it that extra hit. Ice style. Wolf Fang Avalanche. Naruto turns to a mountain nearby which has erupted into an avalanche with white snow wolves at its head. He takes a moment to think of a response and smirks. Going through hand signs, he slams his hands into the ground and suddenly a wall of roots and new trees erupts from the ground, stopping the avalanche, causing Nader to frown. Wood-style secret technique. Nativity of a world of trees. Feel honored. It's a jutsu not seen since the first Hokage. Whipping his head around, the last thing he sees is his own body as it falls to the ground dead. Naruto had beheaded him. Walking back to Fubuki, he pauses to look down at her. You will survive your wounds. Then you have a choice. Serve the princess or move to Konoha to find your family. I don't care which, but I am done with you. Fubuki chuckles with a mouth full of blood. Issues resolved. Boy, wish I knew what she did to you to make you that angry. Naruto smiles and nods. Let's just say I once had feelings for her, and she responded in the worst way a girl can, and leave it at that. Naruto walks away, leaving her to puzzle over that. Finally arriving at the location of the airship, Naruto walks towards Dodo, who hasn't noticed him yet. Finally, the Kazuhana treasure is mine. Inserting a crystal Naruto had seen on Koyuki into a machine, it lights up and the ice cracks. A number of tower-sized pillars rise out of the ice all around the mountains around them. A heat engine. Where's the money? A hologram appears above the lock. Koyuki, my daughter. If you are seeing this, then I have died before I could realize my dream. I am sorry. I once told you I wanted to bring spring to this frozen land. This chakra engine is the culmination of all my years' research to achieve that. Rule well, my daughter, and pursue your dreams with all your heart. Another hologram of a younger man and Koyuki as a child appears. So what kind of princess would you like to be, my little snowflake? Good. And kind, but always fair. But I have another dream. Oh, and what's that? I want to be an actress. Koyuki is smiling with tears in her eyes. I had forgotten about that. Dodo is ranting and raving about stupid brothers ending everybody and invading other countries as Naruto makes himself known. You know you never did ask my name. You might have just given up if you did. Sneering at him, Dodo spits at Naruto. And what's your name? Naruto smiles. Baratasupiraru. Dodo frowns. Why does that sound familiar? Think Kiri. Dodo frowns further before his eyes widen, but before he can open his mouth, Naruto has buried his fist into Dodo's gut and cracked his armor. How much can I handle? 3 tails. Almost 4. Good, hit me. I want to finish this fast. Nobody had noticed the film crew had arrived soon after Naruto had started speaking and were filming everything. I see your reputation is well earned. That was quite a punch. Naruto ignores him. Princess, please move towards the airship. I am going to finish this now and it will be messy. She nods and runs. Dodo is already going through hand signs for his best jutsu. Ice style. Twin Black Dragon Blizzard. 2 black dragons made of ice rose up and chilled the air around them, causing a blizzard to form, and then charged at Naruto. Mere inches before they hit him, an explosion of pure power erupted from him, shattering the dragons and the ice around him, causing the eyes of everybody nearby to widen. His shirt shredded by the remains of the ice, he stands perfectly still as 3 tails form behind him and he grows a full 3 feet in height. In what could only be described as the voice of God, Naruto chuckled. You really should have run when you had the chance. Naruto takes 3 steps and before he can land a 4th, he silently disappears from everybody's sight until they look at Dodo. Above him is Naruto with a fully formed Rasengan in his hand, which seems to be swirling with all the colors of the rainbow. Naruto slams it into the man and the ground shatters in an explosion of earth and ice. When the dust clears, Naruto is seen standing over a bloody smear on the ground with the head of Dodo left untouched with an expression of horror. The director is grinning ear to ear. You can't buy special effects like that. This movie is going to be the best yet. The cameraman nods. Then grins when Koyuki jumps into Naruto's arms and kisses him full on the lips. Wow. I'm not sure what to say. Koyuki smirks. Oh, don't be so dramatic. It was just a thank you. Naruto grins. You're welcome. You're not going to ask me on a date, or anything, are you? Koyuki quirks an eyebrow. I wouldn't mind. You are cute after all. But I don't think I am right for you. Naruto smiles. Oh good. I have no idea why, but every time I save or help a girl, they seem to ask me out or something. Koyuki giggles. You're a little innocent, aren't you? Naruto pouts. Not sure what you mean. Shaking her head, Koyuki smiles. The next 3 years were eventful to say the least. Naruto gained a reputation as an SSS class ninja. The first ever. Iwa, Kumo and all nations called him for missions they needed done, as Naruto never failed. One by one his teachers and teammates moved to Uzu and now he was alone. He completed his training a month ago and was heading to an uninhabited island, so the transformation caused no damage. As he reached the island center, he sighed. Well, this is it. I wish you could stay with me. Oh, you never know, Naruto. Someday I may come back. But for now, the seal is about to break, and if I am to give you my gift, it must be now. I must say you have impressed me. You finished your training earlier than expected. A shame I failed to save all the Jinchuriki though. Half of them dead. You were not called, so you could not have known. Do not dwell. Only one thing remains before you return to rule Uzu as you should. Yeah, I need to hunt down the rest of Akatsuki. 4 down, and Itachi and Kisame live in Konoha now. That leaves the leaders. Not to mention Orochimaru and his marks. Remember, when you fight him you can take the information on removal from his mind using the Shinjigen. It does not have the limitations of the other Dujutsu. With my power there will be nothing left to challenge you. Peacekeeper or Conqueror, the choice is yours. As Naruto walked, suddenly power erupted around him and the light of the sky faded. Lightning could be seen. The elements tore at the island and slowly Naruto rose into the air glowing brighter than the sun. It was a display of power felt throughout the nations, but it didn't feel scary or sinister but rather calm and peaceful. Later Jiraiya was heard to describe it as feeling just like when one was in tune with nature or in sage mode. Few knew what this was, but all could feel it and turned to the direction it came from. Those who knew smiled as they knew the world was about to change. As Naruto drifted to the ground, little had changed physically. He had grown a foot taller. Standing at 6 foot 4 inches. Built like a swimmer or runner, he was slim but well muscled. No, the most noticeable thing was his hair and body glowed with power. As he touched the ground, he opened his eyes and all around him the island erupted with new life. He was no longer Naruto Uzumaki or Baratasupairu. He was Naruto Shinju, god of nature. Naruto shed a single tear. Goodbye, my brother. In aim. Lord Pain, what was that? Pain was frozen in fear. The power he felt was calm, but it held more power than anything. More than him. I don't know Conan, but I fear it is the end of our plans. He turns to face her. Whatever happens, remember our agreement. My eyes must not fall into the wrong hands and you must live your life happy. This all ends with me. Shedding a single tear, she nods. In a cave in the north of the land of sound, a masked man in Akatsuki robes and a man who looks like a Venus fly-trap are both wide-eyed. Zetsu, what was that? Zetsu is quaking. It can't be. It was absorbed into Kagaya's will. Shinju is dead. How is this possible? Madara frowns. This is a problem. At the gates of Konoha, Fubuki feels the power and remembers the boy from 3 years ago who gave her a second chance. She had served faithfully and finally she was seeking out her family. Tsunade and Shizune are in the Hokage's office with Sakura sharing a cup of sake. So, the day has finally come, Lady Tsunade. Grinning like her surrogate grandson, Tsunade laughs. Yes, Sakura, I believe it has. Shizune blushes. Do you think he will come here soon? I've heard rumors that he's grown quite handsome. Sakura frowns. Why would he come here? I mean, I know Lady Tsunade had the banishment repealed, but I don't see a reason. Tsunade smirks. I can think of one or two, but honestly I don't know.